And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. So glad you guys can be with us. For those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad that you all can be with us. We're about to connect with our friends over on Instagram so they can be a part of our chat for today. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon so we can welcome in our next guest. It really needs no introduction. You guys have seen her here several times over the years, but we're excited about today's conversation. And we're now live on Amazon Live with Cyrus Webb Presents. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon platform, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button. You'll see it either here in this corner or down below. You also will see the books by our next guest. We're excited to welcome back Amazon bestselling author Dr. Teresa A. Smith, aka Dr. Taz. She's the author of several books. I have some of them here: Stronger, Transformation, The Bounce Back. You guys can see it here. We have Dr. Taz Speaks and so many others. We're going to talk to her, though, about what it's been like for her to release the second edition of her book, Stronger, but also Taz has also been busy in the kitchen. She has some exciting things going on there. We'll talk to her about as well. Taz, my friend, welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Cyrus.
Glad to be able to have you. Tobias, hello to you over there on IG. Glad you could join us. Tay, hello to you as well. So very busy July for you, Taz, as we're wrapping up this month and already into quarter 3 of 2025. Talk to us about what it's been like for you as you've been talking about the books. Of course, you're also the host of your own shows as well. What has it been like for you to see how everything is fitting together for you?
Oh, Cyrus, it's like a quilt. It's like a puzzle. And all the pieces, if I was using my grandmother's analogy from my grandmother who used to make quilts, and I would be up under the sawhorses in that little plank. It's like all these pieces of fabric are coming together. And as you said, it all fits together under my brand. And so I am just so appreciative of the purpose that God has placed on me, and then my audience who is receptive to my purpose, meaning they see me as sort of serious sometimes with my Talk with Taz or my Taz moments, but I try to infuse some humor in it, and then of course with Real Talk with Taz and Angelia, they see a little mixture of everything. For the last couple of weeks, before this past week or so, I said to Angelia, I feel, and I may have even said it on the live, I feel like I want to do altar call. I just don't know why. And it's like I have to catch myself. And then, of course, with Real Talk with Taz and Taz and Miss Gloria, they get to see me and my mother and the interactions, and I so appreciate that because they see where Mama Said came from, and then they see the interaction between a mother and daughter who are somewhat alike, kind of different, but we're very unique, and so we still get to share those wisdoms, which are sprinkled throughout my books anyway. So to see everything come together, Cyrus, I'm humbled. And I understand a song that a friend of mine, it's one of her favorite songs, Order My Steps. Order My Steps. So he's been ordering my steps, and I'm just so grateful.
I didn't show this one, but you referenced it with your mom. I want to highlight it for those on Amazon. The book Transformation, you guys can see there how Mama's wisdom unlocks the secrets to success. That's the book that Taz was mentioning. She discusses with her mom. I wasn't planning on talking to you about that, Taz, but let's talk about that for a minute, because that has been one of the new additions for you this year. For one, us being able to see your mother, and then, of course, to see you all engaging together. What has that done for you personally?
Cyrus, it strengthened our bonds. I have been telling Mama forever, Mama, you need to have a reality show. Come, Mama. And I always say she's a hoot, but she really is a hoot. And, with my Transform with Taz show, where it's me in the kitchen and then the interviews, I'm calling Mama and talking to her. I'm like, Mama, what do you think about this? And I do it all the time. I did it this week, as a matter of fact. I had a product and I'm like, I had let it set in water. I'm like, I'm like, I don't know if I should cook this. So I called Mama. I said, Mama, blah, 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 blah. She's like, well, it should be okay. But if you don't think it's okay, then don't use it. I didn't think it was okay. I bagged it right up and it's gone in the trash. So I'm always talking to Mama. And I thought, well, for those people who maybe didn't have a mother that they could talk to for an extended period of time, or maybe the relationship isn't as strong as they would like it to be, I thought this is a good way to share mother-daughter relationships. Sometimes we fall out. That's what my daddy calls it. They're going to fall out now. We fall out, but we always fall back in love with each other, and we still bump heads. And so for me to be able to share my mom with the world, that she's my rock, we fall out and we don't agree. but she's
Yeah.
still my rock. She gives me that wisdom that helps me to stay focused. And so to be able to share this journey with her in a different way, it means the world to me. And not to be morbid, but when I can't get mom on the phone, I could always go to one of the lives. I call them lives for us too, that we've done, and I can listen to her on YouTube. And if I'm needing something, I can grab it from there. So to me, it's like being wrapped in a blanket all the time because she's always there for me.
Gotcha. So that's interesting that you say that because Taz, you're in an interesting position yourself. And that is that you are now able to be that mamatized for people because of the platform that you're building. How does that feel to know that you have become your own elder statesperson in the lives of others through the platform you're building?
Cyrus, it's interesting. I've been hopping into some lives with a group of women, and I realize I am the oldest person there, and they sort of look to me for certain things. And so I'm very mindful of how I interact with them, because it's like, even though I don't have biological children, because I'm around younger women, I'm very mindful of what I say and the message that I'm trying to convey. I
Mhm.
always want to make sure that it's beneficial for them. Now, of course, I can convey the message different with different groups, but I want that message to be beneficial, not so much because I want them to think I'm some guru, but I want them to understand that if I'm saying something, it's coming from a good place and I'm wanting the best from you, for you rather. And so, therefore, to me, that's what being a mother is about. Mothers are nurturing, they're wanting the best for their children, they make sacrifices. And I know my mom made sacrifices for me because I can remember it growing up. She would make sure that we had things while she didn't have. And to me, to now sit in that space, um, it makes me think about Sarah and Abraham. You're never too old. You're
Yeah.
never too old to be able to be a mother to someone. Because, Sarah and Abraham, they were old, but, God said that he was going to bless them with a child. Sarah took matters in her own hand, got her maid pregnant by her husband, which caused problems. But then God came and fulfilled the promise, and we got Isaac. So to me, it says you're never too old to
Mhm.
do anything. Only if you're too old in your mind will you not actually do it.
Okay, so let's stay with that for a moment then, Taz, because that goes to the idea for our audience. As I referenced at the beginning of this conversation, we're now in the third quarter of 2025. We're about to be in the second month of the third quarter, which is crazy to think about.
Hmm.
There are people who look around and say, this year is not what I planned on. Things did not happen what I said were going to happen in January. What has helped you to appreciate timing when it comes to what you're building, but also not try to, as you reference yourself, not try to pull a Sarah and try to rush things along?
Now, Cyrus, I have to really, I think you referred to me as Mary. Mary and Martha, guys. Yeah, I got to really go and read up on Mary. I don't know why he keeps saying I'm Mary,
Oh boy.
but between I can't be Mary and Sarah. But Cyrus, I'm Mary and Sarah. But what I've learned though, guys, is you cannot change timing. And I believe that when we pray, and I believe this is probably almost 20 years now because time goes so fast, that when we pray and God answers our prayers, He dispatches the blessing or the answer from heaven. But we are not in a heavenly realm. So it has to come down to our realm. So when time and destiny collide, then you see the fruit of your labor. So for me, I have to constantly remind myself I can't do everything all the time. Sometimes I try to. Last weekend, I had a wonderful weekend of planning. Now I'm slowly implementing those plans, but I was in a space that I could actually do it and think through it. Well, automatically, I want to get things done quickly. Well, you can't do it that way because
Yeah.
what happens is everything builds upon the next thing. I'm a cook. So, I'm baking, you add one ingredient, then you add the next ingredient, and so on. And such is life. We're always adding the next experience, which then helps to move us further along. So even though you may have had goals that were We had them spaced out at certain times during the year. The fact that you didn't meet your benchmark doesn't mean that you weren't successful. It just may mean that you need more time to refine the outcome that you have so that it does meet the desired goal. So I tell people, and I tell myself, give yourself grace. As long as you're working towards your goal every day, you will actually reach it. But if you stop, then you don't accomplish anything. And I know that sounds sort of like a pansy way of looking at it, but it's the only way to look at it because we don't control anything. And if I'm fighting, life, which means that I'm fighting against myself at the same time. So, make short-term goals that are reachable, because that then also inspires us to keep going.
Yeah. That brings us to one of the things I mentioned to Taz. I wanted to discuss some things from Stronger that I thought were appropriate for her and for the audience. I'm going to highlight it again for you guys over here on the Amazon side. If you guys have not gotten your copy of Stronger, I definitely invite you guys to do so. I want to go to chapter 4 of the book, Blind and Bruised. And there in that chapter, you talked about losing your sight. But I want to talk about the application that you shared, Taz, and for us to talk about it in relation to what you were just saying. You say this: my blindness took away from the one thing that was normal and productive in my life, school. But then you went on to say this: without sight, I lost a part of my core identity. Beyond that, I lost my independence, the very thing that made me an overcoming. Losing my sight was not easy. Sometimes when you are emotionally and mentally blind, it can create problems that you can't even recognize. We all know the experience of being in a house that is too hot or cold. When the temperature is creating discomfort, we must change the thermostat. Our sight or lack of sight is like a thermostat that sets a temperature for our physical well-being. The question that only you can answer is, what is your emotional temperature? So Taz, talk to us about that, because you go on to talk about too being blindsided in that chapter and why we have to be careful of that. But what has that been like for you to be mindful of your temperature and know when things are getting off track?
Well, Cyrus, I'm the queen of the what do you call it? The book is called The Bounce Back, but that's not what Cyrus refers to it as. Backslide. I'm the
Oh, that's
backslide.
I say that.
Yes, sir. But
Oh,
yes, sir. The backslide, and it's not a dance, guys. But I backslide when I'm not in tune to what my temperature is.
mm,
Because when I'm too hot, meaning for this analogy, I'm overdoing it.
mhm,
I don't realize what that's doing to me psychologically, intellectually, emotionally. I don't realize that. So I'm bruising myself.
mm,
When I'm too cold, which I'm rarely too cold, so I can't speak to that, but I won't speak to a person. But if a person's too cold, maybe they've lost their gumption to get up and to try to do something.
mm,
Um, you know, in reality, we need to be right there in that center. So
yeah,
it needs to be a balance where I'm kind of lukewarm all the time, so that I'm not like going da 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 da, but I'm going. I'm going. I'm getting there. And for me, it is a struggle to maintain that balance because, like most people are, who have a passion for many things, there just isn't enough time in the day. And so
mm,
I've had to learn, just like with a pie shell, or a pie chart graph, you have to slice off certain amounts of time for
mhm,
everything that you're doing. And that's all you can do. And don't beat yourself up. And when you look at it from that perspective, then it will help you emotionally stay in the balance section where you won't go too far left or too far right. Because when you swing too far left or right, your temperature is either going to go sky high, which, and I mean literally for that, meaning blood pressure, whatever, whatever, which can then
mhm,
cause physical problems. Or if you're too low
yeah,
emotionally, you can still have some issues going on because you're not able to fulfill what you want. So to
right.
me, it's that balancing act. But Cyrus, you talk about it with losing the sight and then being bruised. Sight is physical sight, but it's also that that spiritual, that intuitive, emotional, intelligent sight that we have to access in order to make sure that we're being balanced each day.
Mm. Which is not easy.
No.
It's not easy. So that leads to this question then, Ties. How much of that have you found? And this is again, as you mentioned in this chapter, only you can answer this, and only our audience can answer this. How much of that higher temperature is from what you want than what you think other people want from you? I guess what I'm asking is, how does our audience know that they actually are doing stuff, doing stuff that they want, or that they're trying to show other people that they are capable of doing other things?
You know, Cyrus, that's an individual thing. I can speak to it from my perspective. You know,
Mhm.
I've learned over the years that some of the things that people liked about me or they appreciated that I could do, those things came out of a trauma response.
Mm.
Okay. And so I've had to learn to differentiate between what I do that I actually want to do versus what I do that other people want me to do. And that in and of itself is a balancing act because I actually like some of those things that I did before. I
Right.
really do.
Hmm.
But they're not what makes me happy. And in the world that we live in now, I don't have time, neither does anybody else, to spend, let's say 100% of we got 100%. Well, let me say it in that different way, make it simple. We got 8 hours in a day. We got 8 hours that we should be sleeping. And then we got, 8 hours of work. Let's take it be a work day. Then we got another 8 hours. I can't spend that other 8 hours in a work day doing things that I don't want to do. Now, I may decide that I'm going to give 1 hour, and that's a choice if I choose to do that. But of those 8 hours, at least 7 of those hours, 6 or 7 of those hours should be directed towards something that I actually want to do versus what others want me to do. And I think when you look at it that way, and you break it down to just 8 extra hours in a day, and then you list out what those things are and ask yourself, is this for me or is this for somebody else?
Yeah.
Me or someone else? And then you start to build that list. Well, if the majority of it, like I said, is not for you, then we've got a problem. And particularly if you're not happy. But that means you then got to do that self inner dive to determine, am I happy doing all this stuff for everybody else? And if you are, you continue on. If you're not, you need to make a change. But only
Right.
you can make that change. And let me
That's
say this, you don't have to justify your change to nobody else. See, that's the problem. We feel like we got to justify why we don't do X, Y, Z.
yeah.
When people are let go from jobs, the company gives you the company line. That doesn't justify what they've done. They just give you the company line.
Right.
Likewise, when we let ourselves go from whatever is not benefiting us, we need to give our own company line.
Mm.
And then that way it's very clear, and we don't have to, in the back of our minds, keep replaying what we used to do or replaying what people think about us. You don't have time for that. And if you're doing that, Cyrus, that's taking that temperature up, which means also you're not focused on what you said you now want to focus on, whatever that goal is. You still focus on this stuff over here.
Right. So, Jesus Black Man, hello to you over there on IG. Good way to see you. So, I mean, for those who don't know, you have Taz, who is a best-selling author. She's a media personality. She's a cook. She's a speaker, and other things that also fall under what you do. You mentioned about doing what you love, Taz. Um, I know you were telling me before we went live here, you're working on a new project that's coming out either in August or September, built on the cooking side, and you've been sharing a lot with your smoothies. What is that? Do you seem to really light up when it comes to ties in the kitchen? What is it that you have coming up that you can tell us about?
Well, Cyrus, I do light up when I talk about that kitchen stuff. I know sometimes you'll be like, huh? Yes, because I love it. And thinking about what we were just talking about, from stronger, bruised and being able to modulate that temperature, but being able to, excuse me, do the things that you like to do. I love to cook. Now, guys, it take a lot of time. I was
Hmm.
prepping last night because I'm gonna be as of this episode, I will be in the kitchen later today.
Hmm.
So I was prepping. I was prepping before I came live. I love it because it's about me and an audience.
Hmm.
I get to share what I like. I give you tips about how you can modify things. But this is just me being me. It's a part of my life. And it's really a very large part of my life. I've had gastric sleeve surgery, so I have to be very mindful about what I eat. And because I have Graves' disease, I even have to be mindful, like soy products are great, but I have to be mindful if I am going to consume them when I consume them because I can't have it to interact with my thyroid medication. So with the new cookbook that's coming out in August, it's called Transform with Taz, Sift to Heal: 31 Smoothies for Recovery, Strength, and Life After Illness. The
Mm.
emphasis was, of course, I'm always trying to figure out how to get more protein in my diet. So I was like, well, I do smoothies, but it's like, why don't you really, really do smoothies? And I can tell a difference, guys. I write about in the bounce back, I wound up being out of work for like 4 months, and I have bowel issues. I'm actually going to see my doctor on Monday, and she's going to be quite surprised. I took myself off the medication in January. I think that since I've been doing my smoothies, my bowels have gotten much better. I don't do anything most days now. And for me, that's a big deal when you are double over in pain in the
Mhm.
hospital. So I think that by me doing the smoothies, I think it's helping me to get the nutrients in. I can see the difference. Also, I was inspired to actually put my smoothie recipes in a book because a friend of mine has head, neck cancer for the second time. And so she's doing better. And so I'm dedicating this book to Regina Hayes because she's an inspiration to me. And she's a trooper. And I thought about it, individuals who have other health issues could benefit who can't chew. She's having to have reconstructive jaw surgery. So, it's a whole lot of things that are happening. And there are a lot of people who need inspiration. So I'm not going to say this is not going to be an inspirational book, but it will be a book that says, hey, you don't have to give up flavor just because you're dealing with whatever, be it the fact that you're not supposed to have much sugar, I'm from the South, sugar. You're not supposed to have, sugar in your diet, or maybe you just want to eat healthy, or you want to figure out how you can just incorporate fruits and vegetables. So I'm hoping that folks will be receptive to it because I have been laboring over it, Cyrus. I've been in the kitchen, I've been curating my smoothies, and I've been recording them. Some of the videos will look kind of wonky, but that's okay because
Mhm.
again, it was me working through trying to figure out does this work or doesn't it work. So
Right.
that book will be released in August. So it'll be released next month.
Love it. Look, something for us to look forward to. Earl Hall is joining us over on Amazon. Hello to you, Earl. He says, I love Ties in the Kitchen. And Ties, we know you enjoyed as well. So a lot for us to look forward to. So Ties, let our audience know if they're not staying connected with you, let them know how to stay connected with you and what's coming up they should be on the lookout for as we're heading into August.
Well, if you're not, if you don't know how to keep up with me, the best thing to do is to follow me on IG, Dr. Teresa Smith. On IG and Facebook, I am doing my weekly lineup. So follow me there. On that link in the bio, it will give you all of my other social media. Also, I got to put a plug in, and I don't know why my voice wants to go out, but I'm going to clear my throat. This is real important. I have Taz and Angelia, the exclusive show that's on IG at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. Wait, IG Tuesdays, but in your hand coming in September, you can get a copy of Real Talk with Taz and Angelia. Our book is called Two Sisters, Two Perspectives on Life and love and everything in between. So it will be available in September. So I hope you guys will pick it up. It's going to be interesting because Angelia is real interesting. And so that's coming up. And so I just look forward to seeing what this quarter and the rest of 2025 has, Cyrus.
Yeah, me too, Taz. Congratulations to you, Taz. Very busy time for you. We appreciate you stopping by and looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you so much, Cyrus.
More than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you'll make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.